Architect Ledger TV. Episode script. Spoken section. Microsoft is quietly building a chip rental pipeline straight to Anthropic. And that reshuffles the entire AI infrastructure market. I'm your host on Architect Ledger TV. Here's what every IT professional needs to know. Let's go. Microsoft and Anthropic are in active talks for a chip supply deal that sidesteps the traditional chip shortage playbook. Instead of buying hardware outright, Anthropic would rent access to Microsoft's AI server infrastructure, likely Cobalt or custom silicon running in Azure. For architects, this matters because it flips the capital expenditure model, rather than Claude burning cash on chip purchases with long lead times. They get elasticity. Scale up for training runs. Scale back between cycles. That's the cloud computing lesson Microsoft learned years ago, now applied to LLM infrastructure. The real play? Microsoft locks in a major AI customer without selling hardware. Anthropic gets compute without the balance sheet hit. It's elegant, and it's going to be the template others follow when chip availability stays tight. This deal isn't just about Anthropic's immediate compute needs. It's Microsoft weaponizing its data center footprint against NVIDIA's stranglehold on AI silicon. When Anthropic signs a long-term rental agreement with Microsoft, they're validating Microsoft's homegrown Cobalt chips and custom accelerators. That validation signals to other AI labs. You don't need to wait for NVIDIA allocation anymore. You can get serious compute from Redmond. For your infrastructure team, this means supplier diversification is finally becoming real. You'll see more RFPs asking about Azure AI infrastructure parity with NVIDIA-backed clouds. Microsoft gets market share in the intelligence layer. Anthropic gets reliable, reserved capacity. Everyone wins except the vendors who've been price gouging since 2023. Anthropic's move is defensive strategy dressed as partnership. They've watched OpenAI and Google tighten relationships with chipmakers. Now they're building their own moat by locking into Microsoft infrastructure early. For your planning horizon, this signals that no AI company is betting solely on open market chip purchases anymore. Anthropic gets guaranteed allocation. Microsoft gets a customer who trains Claude models exclusively on their silicon. And the relationship deepens into harder-to-break territory. From a DevOps perspective, watch for Anthropic to start publishing Azure-optimized model architectures within 18 months. When an AI lab commits compute, they also commit engineering. This is how platforms win. Not through better specs, but through economic coupling. Google dropped prototype Android XR glasses that beam Gemini translations, navigation, and contextual information directly into your field of view. It's not consumer ready. Edges are still clunky. Latency is noticeable, but the technical foundation is solid. For enterprise architects, this is the wedge. Companies are going to start asking, can we build custom overlays for warehouse picking, surgical guidance, fieldwork inspection? The translation demo alone proves the inference latency is viable. You're looking at sub-second Gemini calls rendered as spatial UI. That's a new class of real-time AI application on top of infrastructure you can actually spec today. Android XR means Google is threading AR through the Google Play ecosystem. Distribution advantage. Within 2 years, expect enterprise AR frameworks built on these glasses as the default deployment target for computer vision and translation workloads. Bristol Myers Squibb just signed a deal with Anthropic to apply Claude on drug discovery workflows. Research acceleration, compound screening, literature synthesis at scale. For IT services firms deploying this, it's a template. Pharma is one of the few industries where inference cost is noise compared to research time. BMS can spend $2 million monthly on Claude API calls, and it's trivial against the value of finding one viable compound 6 months faster. This validates the enterprise market for Claude beyond the usual suspects. You're going to see similar deals land in financial services, biotech, manufacturing soon. The pattern: high-value prediction tasks where model accuracy beats inference cost every time. Your tech roadmap should include a line item for Claude integration audit. Which internal processes have hidden bottlenecks that AI inference actually solves? Google's AI Overviews algorithm is interpreting the word disregard as an instruction to ignore user intent rather than a search term. Type disregard, and the AI ignores your query entirely. A subtle but catastrophic failure mode. For systems architects, this is a reminder that large language models don't parse instruction versus data cleanly when users inject adversarial input at scale. Google's filter layer failed. The LLM saw disregard and treated it like a system prompt override. This isn't funny. It's a production incident that exposes a fragile assumption that disclaimers and instructions in system prompts stay isolated from user input. Real-world implication. If you're building retrieval augmented generation systems or AI search wrappers, you need robust input sanitization and fallback logic that traditional SEO never required. One contaminated word shouldn't tank your entire result set. The disregard failure is symptomatic of a deeper problem. Google's AI overview system doesn't cleanly separate instruction context from data context, making it vulnerable to semantic injection attacks. Users are now deliberately gaming the system, feeding it language that exploits the prompt structure. For your teams, this is a case study in why you can't ship LLM-powered products without adversarial testing and confidence scoring. Google has the resources to fix this within days. The fact that it stayed broken suggests their testing pipeline didn't catch a basic instruction injection scenario. If you're deploying any generative AI feature in production, summarization, search augmentation, chatbots, assume users will find the cracks. Build monitoring that flags when AI outputs deviate from expected intent. Log the inputs that trigger odd behavior. This specific bug will be fixed, but the vulnerability class is permanent. Sundar Pichai's I/O presentation stood out because it wasn't breathless AI evangelism. It was infrastructure, embedded features, integration depth, Gemini in Workspace, Android XR, search integration, chip partnerships. The subtext. Google is moving from "I is coming" to "I is Tuesday." For IT leaders, this is the signal that the hype cycle is flattening. Companies stopped booing AI on stage because they realized AI won't be some separate thing you adopt. It'll be baked into every tool you already use. That means your architecture decisions shift from "should we use AI" to "which AI service gives us the least lock-in and the best inference cost for our specific workload?" Google is betting on ubiquity through distribution, not differentiation through magic. The competitive bar just moved from "can we build AI" to "whose AI integrates so seamlessly that ripping it out becomes impossible?" Quote, take the AWS Certified Machine Learning Specialty Exam. It covers distributed training infrastructure, feature stores, and real-time inference patterns that directly map to how Anthropic scales on Microsoft chips and how Google optimizes Gemini across XR and search. 8 weeks. Hands-on labs. Critical for understanding infrastructure choices in the post-hype era. Thanks for watching Architect Ledger TV. Subscribe for next week's deep dive. Here's your question. If inference cost drops to zero, what workload inside your org becomes suddenly solvable? End spoken section.